Welcome to TrumpetStudio.com presents the Ultimate Trumpet Podcast.
The only show dedicated to the reality of playing, where we treat the instrument not as a mystery, but as a discipline. Whether you're running through your morning routine or prepping for a massive symphony gig, we've got your back.
Today in the studio, we're unpacking a truly fascinating piece of writing called The Cornet King, Herbert L. Clarke Restored by Michael Droste.
This is a release that completely changes the game. As Michael points out in his review, this isn't merely a historical reissue. It is a total recalibration of how we hear one of the most important brass musicians who ever lived. He treats Clarke's recordings not as fragile antiques, but as living documents, performances that are meant to instruct, inspire, and honestly, occasionally intimidate us.
Absolutely. What emerges from this project is a vibrant, breathing musician whose influence still hums beneath modern playing like a buried power line. You have to remember the context here. Clarke was born in 1867, and these tracks were largely recorded between 1903 and 1912. That is the acoustic era. Sound was physically carved into wax by air pressure alone. No microphones, no edits, no second takes.
Every phrase was a tightrope walk over silence. To pull that off, you need an incredibly stable, perfectly set om-boo-shure. You can hear that extraordinary discipline in every bar. And instead of just talking about it, let's actually listen. This first track still functions as a rite of passage for brass players, but hearing Clarke himself perform it totally resets our expectations. Adam, you want to cue this up?
You got it. From the CD, The Cornet King, Herbert L. Clarke Restored, here is the legendary Carnival of Venice.
It's just incredible. The variations are not rushed at all. The articulation is compact and buoyant, never aggressive.
Right, the fast passages sparkle because they are rhythmically aligned with his airstream, not because they are forced. It's virtuosity as inevitability, not exhibitionism. And that same philosophy governs tracks like Caprice Brilliante and Rondo Caprice. His technique dissolves into the music so completely that you notice the character before you even think about the difficulty.
That restraint is even more obvious in his lyrical playing. Modern players often overlook how much control Clarke had when he slowed down. Let's take a listen to another cut from the album to really highlight this vocal approach.
Here is Clarke performing Bride of the Waves.
Notice that vibrato? It is narrow and deeply purposeful. His phrasing breathes just like a singer trained on text, even though the melody is floating free of words. In pieces like this, or Makushla and the Palms, the sentiment never curdles into syrup. He trusts the melody, which is the ultimate mark of a mature artist.
And we can't ignore the ensemble and march recordings on this release either. Tracks like Washington Post, Liberty Bell, and El Capitan are vital tempo documents. Modern march interpretations often drift toward heaviness or theatricality, but Clarke's tempos are alive and precise. The inner voices actually speak. Accents lift rather than crush.
You really hear why Sousa relied on him as a musical authority. And talk about authority. His adaptation of Liszt's Rhapsody Hongroise No. 2 demolishes the idea that early brass players were limited by their instruments. The rhythmic control is astonishing, and his ornamentation is fearless. He is limited only by his taste, which was formidable.
What truly elevates this entire release, though, is Michael's restoration work. He applied noise reduction with surgical restraint. The attacks remain crisp, and the cornet's edge is preserved. He didn't try to make it sound artificially modern. He made it intelligible on modern systems without falsifying its character. You can finally hear past the wax medium and into the musician.
It's a masterclass. As Clarke once wrote, the average cornet player does not fail from lack of ability, but from lack of patience. When you listen to this restored album, patience becomes audible. Every note has waited its turn for more than a century, and now they finally speak again.
If you want to experience this recalibration for yourself, you can get your direct digital download or pick up the commemorative CD of the Cornet King, Herbert L. Clarke Restored by Michael Droste right now over at trumpetstudio.com.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the Ultimate Trumpet Podcast. If this deep dive into applied acoustics got you rethinking your setup, remember that new gear only magnifies your daily habits. To really build that symphonic engine or lead scalpel endurance, you need the right fundamentals.
Exactly. Head over to trumpetstudio.com to grab your copies of the Ultimate Warm-Up, the Ultimate Technical Study, and if you've got gig season coming up, the Ultimate Wedding Book.
Thanks for hanging out in the studio with us today. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Now go practice.